74. Marty Robinson with his back to us. Commodore from 1968 to 70, and of course Eden Allica from 1976 to 78. Martin Sly, Commodore from 1992 to 1994. Ken Venn, Commodore from 1984 to 1986. And John Dance on the left a couple of years later, 1988 to 1990. Ainsley Allen and his wife Sarah. Gary Hosey directly ahead with the glass is the current Commodore for Sailing Club. All the agents walking through, and a couple of VIPs. Winnie Allica on the right, wife of Eden, of course. Again, Don Butler, Eden, Ronnie Keller. Martin Robinson again. Christine Dance welcoming the members as they come through and visitors. John and Ken again. Ken's been a member since he was 11 years old, I believe. Peter Donaldson, previous Vice Commodore and Rear Commodore Club in years gone by. And of course the all-important drinks table. Mary Casely in the red, the wife of Richard Casely, who in 1972 was probably the instigator in buying the property in Bowman Street, which has helped bring along these extensions 25 years later. Great debt paid to him and his wife for all their efforts. Mary again. It's getting on to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Most boats are already rigged up, or at least down here, ready to go. The wind is still very light. around about 5 knots at present. All the sabos are on the beach after their first race, which we saw earlier.
How's your sabre hunting going?
So,
Okay, it's Mentor Girls Secondary College band.
the sabres.
What we're going to do now is we can ask the sailors to gather around at the bottom of the flagpole here on the decking, and we'll proceed with the opening of this season for Mordialloc, and also then proceed to the information session for the sailing this afternoon. So if sailors like to gather around at the bottom of the deck here under the flagpole, that'd be terrific, thank you. And we'll get that underway as soon as possible.
Well, after that announcement, we'll head down to the ceremony area and watch the briefing, and then hopefully get an interview with one or two of the past Commodores. Full circle now. Down on the beach, a few families having some fun. Probably Sabo sailors. The catamaran fleet usually rig up in this area. The wind seems to be lightening out even more now, so it could be a slow race this afternoon. Paper Tiger, 125 and Laser.
Okay, thanks very much. I'd like to start by welcoming you all here today for the opening of our season, and wishing you all good sailing. And I'll hand you over to the Commodore Gary, MLC for Chelsea, Dr. John Ross, the MLC for Higginbotham, Mr. David Lee, the MLA for Karen, Mr. Jeff Lee, the MLA for Mordialloc, and Leslie McGurgan, the Mayor of the City of Kingston. I'd also like to welcome Commodores of neighbouring yacht clubs, Mordialloc Motor Yacht Club, Parkdale, Chelsea and Cowes. Ms. Lainey Guster from United Energy, Mr. Peter Coleman from the entire group,
Jeff Everington.
all the past Commodores and wife members of Mordialloc Sailing Club and ex-officio members, and naturally all the members and
There you go.
visitors who are here today. I'd like to start off by thanking our sponsors. We've had some fantastic support from our sponsors through the year, and particularly through the Winter Series, and mainly United Energy and the City of Kingston and Entire Engineering have sponsored our Winter Series for us this year.
Gary Hazy
Without
making
their
the announcements.
It wouldn't be the success that it has been. So thank you to those sponsors. And providing hot food for us out of the canteen all through the series. We do have an exciting year in Melbourne in the next few months. We've got lots of things happening around the bay. We've got Sail Melbourne is going to be another large event to follow on from the 99 Worlds. And at Mordialloc Sailing Club, we're fortunate to be a part of Sail Melbourne this year. We will be hosting the Sail Melbourne 2000 off the beach monohull regatta on the 7th and 9th of January, and later on in the new year we'll also be hosting the Sabre State titles and the Flying 15 titles, so we are in for a busy year at Mordialloc. As usual, we've got sail training starting in October, and Mordialloc is very keen to encourage our juniors, and we're very happy to see today the support of the Sabo Association, who are here holding one of their selection series races this afternoon, and it's great to see so many juniors out there on the water. I'd now like to formally introduce the Mayor of the City of Kingston, Leslie McGurgan, who will open the sailing season for us. The City of Kingston has been a great supporter of Mordialloc, and we thank them for that, and we look forward to their continued support over the years.
Thanks, Gary. Commodore Gary Hosey, parliamentary representatives, visiting Commodores, sponsors, and last but not least, committee, hard-working committee, and all the members and sailors. Thank you very much for inviting us to open your season today, the 1999-2000 season. Council values the water-based clubs. We believe that you all play a very vital part in this city, a city of 13 kilometres of beach. As the profile of our bay rises, and it certainly will, you will become even more important. I believe that the profile of general sailing is growing, and this is continually being enhanced by a number of government initiatives to make our bay number one for recreational activity. In this year's budget, Council's allocated $50,000 for a precinct study of Mordialloc, which includes this area. It will include a very extensive public consultation process with residents, commercial and businesses, and most important of all, clubs and recreational users, to ascertain the direction in which we should be making future plans for this area. And whilst you're North Aspendale, you're still Mordialloc. I'm sure all the groups will not agree. However, I expect all those who'd like to see Mordialloc prosper will have a number of points and directions in which they wish us to go. Over the past few years, this area has vastly improved, and without a proper planned approach to the future, there is a real danger of non-coordinated ad hoc development detrimental to the overall area and you, one of our main users. Of course, as well as community, there'll also be substantial input from all government departments, Park Victoria, Natural Resources, and all the other departments that are involved. When your studies are complete, and if I had my way, it'd be yesterday, but that's not possible. I like things to happen yesterday. We'll be seeking recognition and funding from state government to start implementing its findings. And I know it's a bit premature to start talking about state government funding, but if I keep talking about it, then by the time we actually apply, hopefully the powers that be and all the politicians will be convinced just how necessary major funding is to go into this area.
We agree.
Good, I'm glad. I'm unable to preempt any decisions, as we've already been designated one of a number of major activity nodes around the bay. Mordialloc is already somewhat in the spotlight. The draft foreshore strategy is also quite an exciting document. I'm not going into any details as to what it contains. It will take too long once I start. But many of the identified actions are going to take some time to implement, as it's been agreed by everybody that there's a substantial amount of upgrading in all areas needed. And I guess the area that's of most interest to you is your beach, North Aspendale. That shows as a priority action in the study, but again, that's dependent on substantial government funding. So we're working very hard on upgrading this Aspendale part of the beach. And without further ado, and thank you very much, I would like to declare this sailing season open at the Mordialloc Sailing Club.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Will it work? Who did it? Oh! punishment, man.
Ooh, lucky.
Someone scared in front of
Okay, if I can have your attention for just one further moment. For the sailors, we'll have an information session in the boat shed in about 5 minutes' time. An information session in the boat shed in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
There's Gary Hazy speaking, Martin Sly, and the Lord Mayor of the city. The boat's returning to the beach after the race. Three flying 15s after finishing the race are heading towards the Mordialloc Creek. It's been a light day with winds from 0 to 5 knots, no more. An A-class cat next to the Sabo, with a 14-footer coming up behind. Another A-class several ACAS and several Sabos, and a 420 coming in. $49 and a couple of cherubs. And the alcoholics, I mean the diehards, the racing, up the top. Still enjoying a beautiful day. Well, the boat's unrigging now, at the end of the day. $49 are coming ashore.
Your attention please, can the owners of vehicles ORN 706 a Commodore and DCQ 539 a Commodore parked under the crane, can you please move these vehicles immediately? Commodore ORN 706 DCQ 539 parked under the crane, please move these vehicles.
Husband and wife team coming ashore, I bet. Wonder if they're still talking to each other. There's a contrast between this morning when we had a low-lying fog for several hours. You can have a look now and you can see the difference between this morning and what now is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Clear as could be. The water's like glass. And you can see a great deal of detail even right across Frankston past down to Mount Eliza. I guess that's the nature of Port Phillip Bay. Chelsea Yacht Club down there. I'm panning back now to the end of the day's racing. All the skippers, crews, dads and even mums helping pack up. A super day, even though it was a little light on the water with a shortened course. Beats working, I tell you. Pilot. Dom 2 and escort.
Thanks, Mike. Cheers.
And of course the rubber ducky.
When we're out there, when we first oh well, that's experience. Thank you, Peter.
16 rum and
The after-race celebrations. Mrs. Commodore. Mr. and Mrs. Dance. Nigel Abbott. Just commencing, just about to commence.
Division 1, first class, in rate class 7, C. Brewer. Division 1, again in A class, second place was A class, another bench for Russell Meadows. Division 2, there's no finish, it's done unfortunately. Obviously don't read his sailing instruction on the computer. What? The course was short. What? Yeah, got it, he's joking! He's not 14 hours, shut up! No, I know. They obviously don't read the code plan. What? I think I'm cowboy! Division 3, first division, first class of the fireball, PCB H. Ridgeway.
Excuse me, mate, but in the second session, what time was the start? first. First was Ice in Ridgeway. Second was Fearless, B-Neat. First was Test Parlay, Jay Henderson. Looks like the girls took the honours this morning, doesn't it? Okay, this afternoon, first was Blown Away, Ted Chisholm. Second was Fearless, B-Neat. This afternoon we had the two juniors finished this afternoon race. First was to the max, also the only finish this morning in Taylor.
Back to the beginning and where we started from this morning. It's now time to close out on a great day. I hope this video has reflected some of the fun times that were experienced by all. We've been through the club premises, spoken to 3 or 4 Commodores and seen all the boats and given an insight into the 1999 Mordialloc opening day. In closing, I'd like to say good sailing to all for the next 22 years. First race of the summer season for 1999-2000. As you can see, it's a glorious day. Approximately 20 degrees and a promising southerly. Doing a full 360 degrees. Through the car park area. The wall, Nigel's house in the distance. Down to Espandale. And back on the water. Mordialloc Pier in the distance. Sabres, Contenders, and Tazos heading out to the start. And of course somebody running late. Flying 15 coming out of the creek. And of course back 50 odd years ago, all 12 square metre heavyweights were doing exactly the same thing. This is the rock wall, of course, which was built late 60s or the very early 70s. And if you look closely in the foreground, the first part of the reef, where you can see a few of the rocks surfacing after the waves, that was one section of the reef. And further down, next to the ramp itself, is the other reef outcrop, where prior to the rock wall being made, the boats used to come in and out between these two reefs. I never heard of any of them missing the middle and ending up on the rocks, but maybe that did occur. And also prior to the reef, prior to the rock wall, if you look where the tower is now, in actual fact 6 months prior to the rock wall, the water was lapping up right next to where the tower is now. Again, one of the flying 15s heading out past the creek mouth. I dare say this would be quite tricky in a 25 knot southerly buster, to say the least. Here's another way of getting out through the creek. I'm not sure what they're going to do when they get to the mouth. This will be interesting to see. Whoops. Well, it was a successful negotiation of the creek mouth. Everybody away well. Now, with most of the sailors off, out ready for the race, a few casual sailors are organising themselves. While the rest of the club is pretty well deserted, except for Peter Williamson up in the tower and Louise Hosey sunning herself up on the deck. Puff and Pace are going out for a cruise at some later stage this afternoon. Trailers strewn all over the beach. While the tide is going out. And out to the sailors ready for the first race for the 1999 season. Into the boat shed area. The sabots that have been manufactured by Martin Sly. Yeah. Briefing room board. The details of the today's racing. T3 meaning triangle woodwind return triangle. And up the stairs to the tower. And the buoys. The old sabo that had been built in 1970 in the sabo building scheme, where 10 sabos were built in this very boat shed area here, and they all sailed at the club and did very well. That was the beginning of a new era for the sabos, where eventually up to 5-6 years after that we had 25 sabos on the water racing every Saturday morning. This sabo building scheme was the beginning of it. Coming up the creek is Escort with John Dance at the helm, ex-Commodore, with Cassie, current secretary, and her daughter, Alicia. pretty good boating skills there. And panning across. This pilot. Pilot's our start boat. It's been around for many years and still very seaworthy and been very well looked after. And Don Butler and Roy Goldsworthy, ex-Commodores, man the start boat. Two of our flying 15s coming in after the finish of the race. Very close finish between the two of them. With 3.661 just pipping the other boat on the line. Now, isn't that a nice sight? Very nice indeed. First taser just finishing off now, coming in as we pan around. The other boats are on their last leg, coming up to the finish. As you can see, one of the Sabres has taken a good lead in the first race. And there's the pier itself. As you can see, this is a picture from Bowman Street, looking out towards the Nepean Highway and the hotel. The bridge across to the island where our origins are based. The Mordialloc Motor Yacht Club.